When the sci-fi thriller Upgrade came to theaters, many moviegoers faced an amusing coincidence during the trailers. A preview for another film with seemingly the same plot. The movie was Venom. Both stories do cover many of the same beats and have the same essential premise: a thwarted man empowered by a literal voice in his head. Hi, I'm Coy Jandro. This is Gamma Ray. We're going to be diving into the similarities and differences in movies that seem all too similar. But hold up. This comparison is incomplete without discussing Parasite, an anime series, and Be More Chill, a stage musical. They've come up recently too, and also share the same basic premise. Is this a trend? A string of homage? No, not really. It's just plain cosmic coincidence. Similar ideas simply arise at different corners of the zeitgeist. Acting like one ripped off the other is a childish exercise every time, especially when comparing these four titles together. It reveals how their plot similarities are far less striking than their contrasts of tone, theme, and perspective. In fact, such aspects are actually more crucial to the identity of a movie than its plot. Let's keep the contrast focused on Venom and Upgrade first. The latter follows Gray Trace, a mechanic who's widowed and left crippled after a seemingly random carjacking. While lying paralyzed in the hospital, Gray is approached by Eron Keep, a client whose classic car he'd worked on. A tech prodigy, Eron offers to work on Gray in turn, implanting an experimental microchip, STEM, which will restore control of his limbs. It functions as a Siri-like virtual assistant. Gray has conversations with STEM,
"Can you read my mind?"
which others can't hear,
No.
and asks for answers about his wife's murder case that the police can't find. Gray can call in STEM's metadata processing to hunt the criminals who wronged him, and also give over reign to his body so STEM can use it more effectively to kill them. He's initially squeamish about STEM's brutal methods, but steadily yields more and more control as his vendetta escalates. By the end, STEM turns out to have been the mastermind of Gray's tragedy all along. It organized the hit on his wife, Asha, then manipulated Eron to make Gray this offer because it desired a flesh and blood body. Venom follows Eddie Brock, an investigative journalist whose life falls into ruin when he crosses lines to expose the Life Foundation, a suspicious bioresearch company. Eddie's fiancée, Anne, is a lawyer for the foundation. He betrays her trust by scooping private emails about people dying when exposed to alien symbiotes in test labs, and the pair break up after both losing their jobs. Months later, scraping by after his disgrace, Eddie pursues a new lead, gaining access to the Foundation's labs, where he's exposed to the symbiote himself. This creature, Venom,
Hungry.
has inner dialogues with Eddie about co-preservation. It urges Eddie to gorge on any food in sight, even other humans, much to his horror, and feed its alien appetite. It also afflicts his body at first, like a parasite would. What Eddie gets in exchange are fearsome powers. He can climb buildings, crush cars, and shapeshift, which prove useful when mercenaries come to repossess Venom. The symbiotes aim to conquer Earth. After Venom's superior Riot possesses Carlton Drake, the Foundation's CEO, that master plan threatens to advance. However, Venom becomes an unlikely champion for humanity, aiding Eddie to thwart Drake and Riot. Afterward, Eddie reconciles with Anne, gets past these growing pains of having Venom in his body, then sets rules for new crime-fighting career. They can eat humans, but only criminal ones, and thus he becomes the Lethal Protector. So, it's a happy ending with a positive message. Both these flicks balance thrills with black humor, but their most obvious difference is the mechanism of fantasy: alien parasites versus cybernetic implants. The most obvious similarity is the moment-to-moment dramatic conceit of an actor speaking to an off-camera character. However, there's contrast in those dialogues' flavor. STEM mostly offers analytic advice to Gray, while Venom pleads Eddie to act as a beast would. This simple difference arcs through two very different endings with very different themes. Early dialogues between Gray and Asha present them as an odd couple. She works at a cutting-edge tech outfit while he stubbornly sticks to outdated hardware and stays off the grid. Gray's relationship with STEM therefore sees him steadily enticed to exactly what he'd been averse to. When STEM is revealed as a manipulator, it manifests those fears. If humans delegate too much of their thinking to gadgets like smartphones, what if they start doing all of our thinking for us? The price of Gray's revenge ultimately proves his disagreements with Asha right. The symbiote's potential as a metaphor also starts with Eddie's love life, but Venom's message basically distills to, get down with your bad self. There's a strong subtext to Venom's interest in Eddie being a twisted romance, something made cutely overt in international ad campaigns, and in the comics. Venom explains it came to see the worth of humanity and chose to save Earth specifically after finding Eddie. In other words, they fell in love. Of course, whilst STEM is voiced by a different actor than Gray, Tom Hardy plays both Eddie and Venom, so he's literally evolving a relationship with himself. Minding that, and how most humans can't physically handle symbiotes, reframes his relationship with Anne in turn. She's a respectable lawyer, he's an infamous reporter, and their engagement breaks because of Eddie's messy approach to doing good. After Venom's in the equation, Anne asserts to Eddie she can handle ugly now, then shows so when she becomes a host of the symbiote herself. How does she hand Venom back to Eddie? Well, of course, in a makeout. Hard to ignore the kinky subtext. So, turns out Venom's more of a rom-com, while Upgrade's a revenge tragedy, or rav-trage.
What kind of language are you speaking?
Now, what about Parasite and Be More Chill? Parasite follows a teen, Shinichi Izumi, who stumbles into possession to thwart an alien invasion when a body-snatching creature, McGee, only manages to take possession of his hand. Like symbiotes, parasites grant shape-shifting powers, but they're swelling swirls of flesh instead of inky sludge. Shinichi's dialogues with McGee are more conspicuous. He must literally talk to the hand. And the perspective he gets is more like Stem's. McGee reads situations with cold, alien logic. This outside-looking-in fascination with the human condition carries throughout the series. An amusing example is when McGee's puzzled by an erection Shinichi gets around his crush. A chilling example is when two rival parasites conceive a human child out of mere morbid curiosity. Shinichi's arc sees him sway to McGee's point of view, going from shy teen to aggressive avenger. However, he ultimately leans back when he realizes he's lost any sense of grief for his mother, whom the parasites killed. He doesn't become as inhuman as Graham, but the balance Shinichi finds with this parasite is more ambivalent than Eddie's. Be More Chill's lead is like Parasite's, and its mechanism is like Upgrade's. Of course, as the title plainly states, the devil on the shoulder here doesn't guide anybody to coax confessions through torture, it gives tips on acting cool at high school moment to moment, like if John Hughes made a Venom movie. Now, the play follows Jeremy here, an outcast whose social standing ascends when a classmate shares a pill containing a squip. Like Stem, it's a high-tech microchip. Unlike Stem, it manifests in the likeness of Keanu Reeves, and berates Jeremy for being such a dweeb. The powers Jeremy gets from the squip make him popular, but also turn him into a jerk who alienates old friends. Unlike any of the other leads profiled here, Jeremy manages to expel his demon after growing disgusted with the new person the squip turned him into. Again, this isn't brooding biohorror, so the means of exorcism are fanciful. It is not high-frequency sounds like those symbiotes are vulnerable to. It is, of course, drinking a Red Mountain Dew. This quartet is far from the only titles which can be compared in a set. Dark City, The Truman Show, and The Matrix were all released within a 13-month span and all have the same basic premise of a man realizing his world is an illusion, but each picks a different focus. Dark City's main concern is nature versus nurture. Is a person merely the sum of their memories? The Truman Show's real thrust is whether a stifling community prevents us from finding out who we really are. The Matrix's central notion is that any imposed rules, even those governing reality, can be bent after enlightenment. All three films do address each other's questions at different times, but their focuses determine whether those questions drive just one scene or a whole subplot. Compare The Hunger Games, Battle Royale, and The Running Man as well, and you'll keep finding what we've found here. Beats of plot shape a story far less than choices of tone, theme, and perspective. Hey, this is Koi Jandro, and this has been Gamma Ray. Thank you for joining me for tales of parasites and symbiotes and all sorts of other glory. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share this with your friends. We'll see you guys next week.